Well, the Solution Summit was really designed for the sole purpose of finding out what people in Georgia think we ought to be doing as opposed to what people just inside the Capitol think we ought to be doing. We recognized, and we should always recognize as elected officials, that the best ideas come from our constituents and the people we represent. And that was really the sole focus, was to hear their ideas. What came out of those meetings was a clear message of government, leave us alone. There's no doubt that the smaller government, limited government, get off our backs government message is resonating throughout the state of Georgia. And that was really kind of the recurring theme that we heard from people. And that is, look, we can get back on our feet again. We can get this economy moving again. We can get Georgia going again, but we don't need any government getting in our way. Well, tax policy is one that a lot of people are concerned about because they recognize how that impacts jobs and the economy. But without question, the single biggest issue is job growth in Georgia. We have been a fast growing state for quite some time. We, just like everybody else, got caught in this economic downturn, and everybody wants us to begin growing again and growing rapidly. Now, we've seen signs of growth here in the last few months, so I think things are getting better. In fact, we had an historical drop in unemployment rate in the state of Georgia just a couple of months ago. But that is definitely issue number one on the minds of Georgians, and that is, how do we grow this economy and create a vibrant Georgia economy? Well, I think it's good. It's the second year of a term, so everybody's, except for two newcomers, have been through a year of this already. You go home, and the people you serve, they don't tell you to come up here and recognize everybody in the state of Georgia or have parties or all these things. They say, come up here and get your job done and go home. And so that's what we intend to do. We started with the first two bills this year, which were meaningful bills on education and education reform in Georgia. And I thought that was a pretty strong statement because in my 10 years, I don't recall us ever doing that on the first day. But hopefully the message is very clear, and that is the Senate, particularly the Senate Republicans, are united to move forward and move forward quickly. Well, I think it should be clear to most Georgians that we spend more of our money here on education in Georgia than we do any other issue. 57, 58, almost 59% of the budget goes to education purposes. It's also the issue that is most concerning to most Georgians. While our transportation system, as it pertains to the airport and the seaports, particularly the Port of Savannah, is doing quite well. Our economy is rebounding. We're a great right-to-work state. We have fairly good tax policy that could be improved. We have a lot of things going for us. But the thing we hear over and over again is that our education system, particularly K through 12, needs some major reform. We're simply not competing with most states in the United States, and clearly not with our international competitors. So that's got to be priority number one. It's the most important thing we've got to reform, and it's where most of our money goes. So I guess the symbolism, but also the substance of what we did on the first day is very important to Georgians. We're sending a very clear message, and that is, we take education reform seriously, and that's why we did it day one. Well, if you go back 20 years in our state, I would suggest that almost every student 20 years ago went to what we would term a typical brick and mortar public school. And those are wonderful, and those will always have a significant leading role in what we do here in education in Georgia. But the reality is today, students have a lot of options, and we're trying to expand those options, but the educational delivery methods have changed. It's not just your brick and mortar public school. You have your brick and mortar public charter schools, and of course we have the opportunity at some point to have private charter schools, and you have online learning, and you have blended learning, and you have homeschools, you have private schools, and you have what I like to call hybrid schools, where children go to a school for a few days a week and then they learn at home the other days of the week. So you have all of these types of educational delivery methods that are rapidly coming to us. The marketplace in education is expanding at an incredible rate. And so my vision is that 10 years from now, that any student who starts kindergarten can have as many options as possible on how they're educated, and they're not limited in how they access those options. That you don't even necessarily have to choose one, but you can choose a blend of two or three. Whatever works best to individualize education in Georgia is what's best for Georgia overall.